Thank you for spending the day with us. We're going to jump ahead to a little bit of a recap of something we announced here at Data for Good Exchange last year. The folks from Foursquare last year came on stage and they announced the Foursquare For Good competition. They're going to detail a little bit about what the winner of last year's competition has done. And they're going to talk about Foursquare For Good 2019. Let me introduce Dennis Crowley and Luca Ventura from Objective Zero.
Hi, my name is Dennis Crowley. I'm the co-founder and executive chair of Foursquare. And I'm here with Luca, the CTO of Objective Zero. And we're here talking about the Foursquare for Good initiative. I don't know if you all know Foursquare. We've been in the New York tech scene for about 10 years now. We've been building all sorts of amazing location technology with this huge data asset about how people move through the real world, the places that they go to. This video, which is supposed to be working but isn't, is supposed to show you the amazing breadth of data that we have about places all over the world and the way that people use those places. Since the very beginning of Foursquare, we've opened things up with our APIs, and we've always been surprised at the things that people have built. In addition to, we build really interesting tools. All these other folks have taken our tools and built amazing things. We've seen people build versions of Foursquare that were meant specifically for visually impaired people, an app called Blind Square. We've seen an app called Wheel Map, which is basically a map of the world designed for people that are the mobility challenge in terms of being in wheelchairs. We've done some work with the Future Cities Challenge, where we make our data open and accessible for people so that urban planners, students, academics can look and say, hey, where should we put bike lanes? Where should we put new transit? Where should we plant trees in these cities? So we found all these interesting use cases that really people have just surfaced to us. And so what we did over the last couple of years is we said, if this stuff is happening organically, how do we really throw some gas in this and accelerate this? So we came up with this idea of the Foursquare for Good initiative. And we've launched this last year here at the Bloomberg conference. And this is our attempt to go out and to proactively go and try to find people that can use our tools and technology to build things that we would never imagine that would really just add good to the world, that would build things that would change people's experience of cities, enhance people's lives, and just really use our data for interesting, positive ways that we would never imagine. When we launched this last year, we put dangled three carrots out there. We said there's going to be a $10,000 prize for the winner. You'll have access to all of Foursquare's tools and technologies, and we'll actually work with, we'll donate some of our engineering resources to help you get off the ground. We had over 35 submissions come in, ranging from everything from health applications, things that were judging the health of people's hearts, to applications that were designed to educate voters. And I'm very excited to have on the stage with me our winner from last year, Luca from Objective Zero, who's going to walk us through some of the amazing work that you've done with our tools and technology.
Thank you, Dennis. So I am Luca Ventura, the Chief Technology of Objective Zero, although I do like Objective Hero. I think we may have to change that. That's a great name as well. So I oversee the development and the technologies for our mobile application. And today I'm going to walk you through a little bit how we're using location technology in particular in order to help save veteran lives. So first, I want to start with this figure, and it's a figure that I'm sure a lot of us have heard, but it can never be restated enough. So roughly 20 veterans and 1 service member take their life every day. And that's at a rate that's more than twice of the non-veteran population. And unfortunately, studies have shown that this number is actually not decreasing at the moment. So that leaves a great opportunity for organizations like the Objective Zero Foundation to step in and provide additional resources and build new technologies in order to help solve for this growing social crisis. So with the Objective Zero mobile application, veterans in the military community can anonymously connect to a peer support group that's been trained in suicide prevention, and they can do so through text messaging, audio calling, and video calling. So at the Objective Zero Foundation, we were started on the idea that the simple act of listening can save a veteran's life. And with our mobile application, it's never been easier for these veterans to make meaningful connections with their peers. Once they've downloaded the application, which is free on the iOS and the Android App Store, and it's also free to use, they're presented with the map screen where they'll see all of the currently available ambassadors that are across the globe that they can reach out to through text messaging, video calling, and audio calling. Now, if they wanted to filter this list down, so maybe they're a veteran who served in the Army, and they wanted to find other veterans who were even in the same campaigns and deployed during the same times that they were, they can do so through our comprehensive filtering options. Now, in addition to connecting veterans to peer support, we offer additional activities and resources in the application through some of our partner organizations like the VA Mental Health Program and the Wounded Warrior Project. Now, for users that want to give support back to the military community, they can do so through our Ambassador Program. And in order to join our Ambassador Program, we require them to take the Veteran Affair approved SAVE suicide prevention course, and that's followed by a knowledge test, both of which is done all within the application. After passing the knowledge test, they'll be accepted into the Ambassador Program automatically, where they can input their availability for the days they're available on, and also the communication channels that they would like to be contacted on. So some statistics on the application since we've launched. We've trained over 1,000 of these peer support ambassadors in over 13 countries worldwide. Over 12,000 messages have been exchanged in the application, and we've seen 200 video and audio calls transpire between our ambassadors and the users. But how are we utilizing location technology in particular in the application to help save for veteran lives? Well, together with Foursquare, we're leveraging their Pilgrim SDK, which is a robust location awareness engine that allows us to handle visit data for the real-world visits that a user has. Now, since going live with Pilgrim earlier this year, we've handled over 300,000 of these visits, and each visit gives us comprehensive details such as vital statistics on the venue, arrival times, departure times, the amount of time at a location, and more. And we can even get some segmented data for visit patterns back from Pilgrim. So if they see that this user frequents the gym, we can get the segmented data that they are a fitness fanatic, for example. Now, this obviously opens the door to deploy some great deep learning and machine learning neural networks in order to do some risk analysis and detect early on users who are at risk. So what does this process look like? Well, I'll give a brief 10,000-foot overview of how we're utilizing this technology. The first is obviously leveraging the aforementioned Pilgrim SDK for all of our location data. And we use that in conjunction with the other great data streams that we have coming in our application. So we have our chat logs between our ambassadors and our users, which we can deploy some convolutional neural networks on and do sentiment analysis and sentence classification. And we also have some user inputted data in our application that gives us a better picture into the user's current mental health state. So with that, we have a pretty good small subset of training data. And we've kind of come up to the idea that we can't be fully supervised and we can't be fully unsupervised in terms of our artificial neural network training. So we're going to be taking a hybridized approach where we have a small subset of labeled data, and we have some psychologists that are helping us label all the data that we have coming in the application. But we're going to be relying heavily on unsupervised methods in order to find these anomalies and characteristics in the data that we otherwise wouldn't be able to find. So eventually, we'll be able to deploy these in the application and digest newly incoming information in order to retrain these models and make better predictions for our risk analysis confidence scores. Now, obviously, this gives us great opportunities in order to help these veterans when they're in a time of need and when we determine that they're at an increased risk level. So the first would obviously be to deliver contextual and location-aware resources, the ability to recommend tailored wellness activities based on a user's history and preference, and even automatically alert friends and family that their loved one is at risk. And one day, we hope that we'll be able to even alert first responders if we have the confidence that we are almost certain that this user is at an imminent danger, so within 48 hours of self-harm. And these are just a few of the great ways that we're utilizing location technology in particular in order to build the next generation of suicide prevention tools together with Foursquare.
I think one of the most inspiring things for us as a company and as this group of people working together to build this stuff is seeing people use our tools and technologies in unexpected ways. And so that's amazing. It's incredibly inspiring and incredibly well-deserving of our award from last year. We're excited to announce that we're running the program again this year. If you would like to apply, you can go to foursquare.com/forgood. The deadline for submissions is October 18th. Prizes are the same this year as they were for last year. The $10,000 prize, access to Foursquare engineering resources, as well as access to all of Foursquare's tools and technologies. There's the process after October, after the submission, is we have a panel of judges, which I'm also on the panel. We review all the submissions. We look for the things that really have sparked creativity and have inspired us. And then the awards are giving out on Tuesday, December 3rd of this year. So with that, thank you very much for letting us introduce the second version of the Foursquare for Good challenge this year. Thank you so much for being on stage, and we're excited to see what entries we get and what creative ideas people come up with for the applications of our technology and data. Thank you.
All right, I know everybody wants to get to drinks and close out the day. I'm Vicky Cerullo from Bloomberg. I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here, for spending your Sunday with us. You know, this is the 6th year we've run the Data for Good Exchange program, and each year it's just more and more inspiring, and this community that's been built is, you know, incredible. I just want to thank our CTO, Sean Edwards, and his team for making this event possible, our events team, all of our volunteers, everyone who contributed content today, our keynotes. You know, data science for the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. The UN has given us some ambitious goals to meet, but just walking around all of the sessions today, if anyone can get us there to achieve that progress, I think it's the people in this room and who are here today. You know, Mike Bloomberg, our boss at Bloomberg, has two sayings. You can't manage what you can't measure, and also you can sit around and complain, or you can do something. And I think this conference really just, you know, embodied both of those sentiments, because we're using data to, you know, collect, track, achieve progress, and we're not complaining about how hard it is. We're coming up with solutions together and really doing something about it. So thank you so much, and d4gx.com. If you fill out our survey, we always love to hear your feedback about the event so we can continue to improve it. But thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your Sunday.